Hello, friends. Today we are going to talk about something that is so important yet often overlooked, the things we apologize for that we shouldn't. So many of us walk around feeling like we're constantly in a state of apologizing for who we are, how we feel, and what we need. But here's the truth, there are things in life that you should never apologize for. Let's take a deep breath together and dive into the 9 things you should stop apologizing for. We all experience emotions. It's a fundamental part of being human, and yet far too often we apologize for how we feel. We hide our emotions, suppress them, or diminish them because we fear judgment or rejection. We might feel guilty for crying in public, for being angry or upset, or for expressing vulnerability when the world around us expects us to be composed or stoic. But let me tell you something important. Your emotions are not something to apologize for. They are not a weakness, nor are they a flaw. Emotions are the language of the heart, the way our bodies communicate with us about what is important, what we value, and what we need. They are a vital part of our personal experience, and they deserve to be honored, not hidden. Think about it, every single emotion you feel is a reflection of something deeply personal. When you are happy, it's because something has sparked joy in you. When you are sad, it's because you care about something or someone and feel a sense of loss. Anger, while often seen as a negative emotion, is a powerful tool that can point to areas where you feel violated, disrespected, or powerless. Fear protects you from harm by alerting you to danger or uncertainty. These feelings in all their various forms are not signs of weakness, they are a testament to your humanity. They are the fuel that helps us connect with ourselves and others, that drives us to make choices, to take action, and to change the course of our lives. It's important to realize that emotions are not something we can control or suppress indefinitely. Suppressing them often leads to feelings of frustration, anxiety, and even depression. We carry the weight of these unexpressed feelings, and over time they begin to shape our behavior in ways we don't fully understand. What we fail to recognize is that when we apologize for feeling, when we dismiss our emotions as unimportant or inconvenient, we are dishonoring our own internal experience. We are telling ourselves that our feelings are not valid, that our needs don't matter, and that we should be ashamed of being human. The truth is that emotions, in their purest form, are not good or bad, they simply are. What matters is how we respond to them. Do we allow them to guide us towards greater self-awareness and connection? Or do we bury them beneath the surface, where they fester and create more harm than good? Emotions are meant to be felt. They are not meant to be rationalized or judged. When we let ourselves experience them fully without shame or guilt, we become more in tune with who we are and what we need. If we stop apologizing for our emotions, we can begin to embrace them as a powerful source of strength. We can learn to express our feelings in healthy, constructive ways, whether that means having a difficult conversation, seeking support, or simply allowing ourselves time to process and heal. Rather than seeing emotions as something to hide, we can view them as a vital part of our journey signposts on the road to personal growth. It's okay to feel. It's okay to express those feelings authentically. It's okay to be vulnerable. When you stop apologizing for your emotions, you stop denying the truth of who you are. You give yourself permission to be fully human, to experience the full range of emotions that life has to offer without shame, without guilt. And in doing so, you create space for deeper connection, not only with yourself, but with those around you. Your emotions are a reflection of your depth, your heart, and your ability to experience the world in all its complexity. Embrace them, they are a gift. Setting boundaries is often misunderstood as something harsh or selfish. We are taught from an early age to be considerate of others, to put their needs first, to avoid causing discomfort. But here's the truth. Setting boundaries is one of the most loving and necessary things you can do for yourself and those around you. Boundaries are not walls that shut others out. They are lines of protection that help you define what is acceptable and what is not, ensuring that you can show up as your best, most authentic self. In a world that demands our attention at every turn through work, family, friends, and social obligations, it's easy to lose sight of what we need. We become so focused on meeting everyone else's expectations that we forget to check in with ourselves. We might agree to things we don't want to do, take on responsibilities that drain our energy, or sacrifice our time and well-being for others without even realizing it. This is where boundaries come in. They are the conscious decisions we make to protect our energy, our time, and our mental health. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting others or being unkind. It's about being honest with yourself and others about your limitations. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable, and you have the right to protect them. It's about saying, I can't do everything, and that's okay. I'm choosing to prioritize what matters most to me. Boundaries help us navigate the delicate balance between giving and receiving, ensuring that we are not giving so much of ourselves away that we lose sight of who we are. When you set a boundary, you are taking a stand for your own well-being. It might be setting limits on your work hours so that you have time to rest. It could be saying no to a request that doesn't align with your values or energy. It might mean telling a friend or family member that you need space to recharge. Whatever it is, the boundary is an act of self-respect. It is a reminder that you deserve to honor your own needs just as much as you honor the needs of others. The beauty of setting boundaries is that they create space for deeper, more authentic connections. When we don't have clear boundaries, we can become resentful or overwhelmed, and our relationships can start to feel like obligations rather than sources of joy. When we set healthy boundaries, however, we create room for respect, understanding, and reciprocity. We show others that we value ourselves and that we are worthy of respect in return. By being clear about what we need and what we can give, we set the tone for more honest and fulfilling interactions. It's important to recognize that setting boundaries is a process that takes practice, patience, and self-compassion. You may feel guilty at first, especially if you're not used to saying no or asserting yourself. You may worry about disappointing others or making them upset. But over time, you will begin to realize that the people who truly care for you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't respect them are not the people who deserve your energy. And in the end, setting boundaries is not about limiting yourself. It's about creating space for a life that reflects your true values, desires, and needs. When you start setting boundaries, you are giving yourself permission to take up space, to prioritize your own well-being, and to live a life that aligns with who you truly are. You are teaching others how to treat you and creating an environment where you can thrive. So don't apologize for setting boundaries. Don't feel guilty for taking care of yourself. Your needs matter. Your peace matters. And you have every right to create the space you need to live fully, authentically, and unapologetically. Speaking your truth is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself and for the world around you. And yet so many of us hold back, afraid of the judgment, the discomfort, or the rejection that might come from expressing our deepest thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. We censor ourselves in an effort to conform, to fit in, or to avoid conflict, but in doing so, we rob ourselves of the freedom that comes from living authentically. Speaking your truth isn't just about sharing what's on your mind, it's about owning your story, standing in your power, and giving yourself the freedom to be who you truly are without apology. We feel as though our voice doesn't matter or that our perspective is not valid because it differs from what's expected or from what others believe. We convince ourselves that it's better to stay silent, to avoid rocking the boat, to simply go along with what everyone else is saying. But the truth is, when we suppress our truth, we suppress a part of ourselves. We allow fear and insecurity to dictate our choices. And in doing so, we deny the world the opportunity to hear the unique and valuable contributions we have to offer. Your voice, your perspective, and your truth are essential to the broader conversation that the world is having. Speaking your truth can feel intimidating, especially when it requires vulnerability. It takes courage to speak up when you are unsure of how others will react, or when your truth may not align with what is comfortable for those around you. But the act of speaking your truth is not about seeking approval or validation from others. It's about giving yourself permission to be seen, heard, and understood. It's about standing in the fullness of who you are and refusing to shrink yourself to make others feel more comfortable. When you speak your truth, you free yourself from the weight of hiding, from the constant strain of pretending to be something you are not. There is immense power in being authentic. When you express your truth, you create space for others to do the same. Your honesty invites others to be real with you, to show up without fear of judgment. The more we speak our truth, the more we encourage a culture of openness, vulnerability, and connection. And that, in turn, builds deeper, more meaningful relationships. When you speak your truth, you show others that it's safe to do the same. You become a model for authenticity, and in that space, both you and those around you can grow. It's important to understand that speaking your truth doesn't mean that you are always right, nor does it mean that you have to convince others to agree with you. Your truth is your experience, your perspective, and your belief it is valid, even if it differs from someone else's. It's about being true to who you are, regardless of the opinions or judgments of others. And while it may not always be easy, it is always worth it. When we hold back from speaking our truth, we live in a state of fear and disconnection. But when we speak from a place of honesty, we unlock a new sense of freedom to express ourselves, freedom to grow, and freedom to live authentically. Your voice matters, your truth matters, and the world needs to hear it. Don't be afraid to speak your truth, no matter how difficult it may seem. In the end, it is the truth that sets you free, and it is the truth that will ultimately guide you toward living a life that is deeply aligned with who you truly are. Asking for help is often seen as a vulnerability, a sign of weakness, or an admission that we can't handle things on our own. We are conditioned to believe that needing help somehow makes us less capable, less independent, or less worthy. We're taught to push through struggles, to handle our problems on our own, and to avoid burdening others with our needs. But here's the truth: asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a powerful act of courage, self-awareness, and strength. It takes a great deal of humility and self-respect to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers and that we need support. In fact, asking for help is one of the most important ways we can foster growth, connection, and resilience. The act of asking for help is not about admitting defeat or failure. It is about recognizing our limitations and giving ourselves permission to lean on others when needed. We all face challenges in life that are bigger than us, and no one is meant to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders alone. Whether it's seeking emotional support from a friend, asking a colleague for advice, or hiring someone for assistance with a task, reaching out for help is a proactive choice to engage with the world around us, to learn, to grow, and to share the load. By asking for help, we not only give ourselves the opportunity to grow, but also allow others the opportunity to share in our journey. We build deeper connections and strengthen relationships when we are willing to be vulnerable and open about our needs. Many of us hold back from asking for help because we fear rejection, judgment, or the belief that we are burdening others. We worry that we will be seen as incapable, weak, or needy, and as a result, we often struggle in silence, facing difficulties alone. But the truth is, those who truly care about us are not burdened by our requests for help. They are honored by the opportunity to be there for us. People who love us and care about our well-being want to support us in our times of need, and asking for help allows them to do so. It's not a burden, it's a gift. Asking for help doesn't make us any less capable. In fact, it often makes us more capable. By seeking assistance, we tap into the knowledge, experience, and strengths of others, which can lead to better solutions and more effective outcomes. It takes wisdom to know when to ask for help, and recognizing that we don't have to do everything alone can be a key to greater success and fulfillment. No one has all the answers, and there's no shame in seeking guidance or support when we need it. The most successful and fulfilled people are not those who isolate themselves, but those who build networks of support and surround themselves with people who lift them up. Asking for help also teaches us about compassion and humility. When we ask for help, we open ourselves to vulnerability, and in doing so, we show that it's okay to need others. It allows us to embrace our humanity fully, acknowledging that we are not perfect, that we don't have all the answers, and that it's okay to rely on others for support. And when we extend the same understanding to others, we build a community of care and mutual support. We can break the cycle of isolation and fear and begin to truly connect with those around us. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is an act of strength. It requires us to acknowledge our needs and take action to address them. It allows us to lean into our vulnerability to build deeper relationships and to foster growth. It opens doors to learning, new opportunities, and solutions we may not have considered on our own. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It's a gift to yourself and to those who care about you. And remember, you are not alone. There are people who are ready and willing to support you, just as you would support them. Many of us have been taught to make ourselves smaller, to take up less space, to shrink into the background so that we don't make others uncomfortable. We do this because we're told to be modest, to be humble, or that we shouldn't draw attention to ourselves. We downplay our accomplishments, minimize our talents, and hold back from fully expressing who we are, all in an effort to fit in, to avoid standing out, or to make others feel more at ease. But the truth is, taking up space is not only your right, it is your responsibility. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to exist fully and unapologetically in the world. Taking up space doesn't mean being arrogant or dominating the attention of others. It simply means showing up as your true, authentic self. It's about being comfortable in your own skin, acknowledging your worth, and allowing yourself to be visible without feeling the need to hide. When you take up space, you acknowledge your own value and send a message to the world that you have every right to occupy the same space as anyone else. You do not need to apologize for taking up space. Your presence matters. Your voice matters. You are allowed to take up space just as much as anyone else. There is power in being visible. When we take up space, we become an example for others to do the same. We give others permission to step into their full potential, to show up without fear or hesitation. We create a ripple effect, helping to shift the collective mindset that some people are more deserving of space than others. This is especially important for those who have historically been told to make themselves smaller, whether because of their gender, race, background, or any other factor. Everyone, no matter their identity, deserves to stand tall, to speak up, and to claim their place in the world. When we take up space, we challenge the systems that tell us we don't belong, and we make room for others to do the same. Taking up space also means owning your accomplishments and being proud of who you are. It means allowing yourself to take credit for the work you've done, the growth you've achieved, and the lessons you've learned. We often feel guilty for acknowledging our success or our strengths because we've been conditioned to downplay them. But by doing so, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to fully celebrate who we are. Your achievements are a reflection of your hard work, your perseverance, and your unique abilities. Don't shy away from recognizing them. Stand tall and claim the space you've earned. It's also important to recognize that taking up space is not just about how we physically present ourselves. It's also about how we show up emotionally and mentally. It's about speaking your truth, sharing your ideas, and contributing to conversations without fear of being dismissed. When you take up emotional space, you assert your right to feel, to express your needs, and to share your experiences. You don't have to hide behind politeness or worry about inconveniencing others with your emotions. Your feelings, your thoughts, your needs are just as valid as anyone else's. When we allow ourselves to take up space, we become more fully aligned with who we are meant to be. We stop shrinking to fit the expectations of others and start living in a way that is true to ourselves. We move beyond the fear of judgment and rejection, and we embrace the fullness of our existence. Taking up space is not a selfish act, it's a necessary one. It is an act of self-respect and self-love. It is a recognition that you, as you are, have a place in this world, and you deserve to take up every bit of space that is rightfully yours. Stop apologizing for being who you are. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's idea of what you should be. You have every right to be visible, to speak up, and to take up space. The world needs your voice, your presence, and your energy. You are not here to live in the shadows or to play small. You are here to shine, to thrive, and to take up space. You belong, and your space in this world is just as important as anyone else's. Making mistakes is an inevitable part of the human experience, yet so many of us live in fear of them. We've been taught from an early age that mistakes are something to avoid, that they are failures, and that making them means we've done something wrong. As a result, we often become perfectionists, constantly striving to do everything right, which can lead to stress, anxiety, and the fear of taking risks. But the truth is, making mistakes is not only normal, it is essential for growth. Mistakes are not failures, they are learning opportunities, stepping stones on the path to self-improvement and success. When we make a mistake, it's easy to fall into a pattern of self-criticism and shame. We beat ourselves up, telling ourselves that we should have known better or done better. This negative self-talk can hold us back from learning the valuable lessons that mistakes offer. What if, instead of viewing mistakes as something to be avoided or ashamed of, we saw them as gifts? Every time we make a mistake, we are given the chance to grow, to reflect, and to improve. Each mistake teaches us something new about ourselves, about how we interact with the world, and about the things that matter most to us. Mistakes are also what make us human. They remind us that we are not perfect and that perfection is not something we should strive for. We are all imperfect beings, and that is what makes life beautiful and full of possibility. When we make a mistake, we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to acknowledge our limitations, and to ask for help or make changes as needed. Embracing our imperfections opens us up to a deeper understanding of who we are and allows us to connect with others on a more genuine level. It's through our mistakes that we learn empathy, compassion, and resilience. The fear of making mistakes often leads us to play it safe, to avoid challenges, and to stay within our comfort zones. But when we avoid mistakes, we also avoid the opportunities for growth that come with them. If we never take risks, we never learn what we are truly capable of. Mistakes are a natural part of trying something new, and without them, we would never push ourselves to achieve greatness. It's through trial and error that we develop new skills, gain experience, and uncover our true potential. Rather than being discouraged by mistakes, we should celebrate them as evidence that we are trying, learning, and evolving. When we make mistakes, we are putting ourselves out there, taking chances, and not allowing fear to control our actions. We are showing up in life with the courage to be imperfect and to embrace the unknown. Mistakes, when viewed in this light, become powerful tools for personal and professional growth. They help us refine our goals, improve our strategies, and build resilience. And it's important to remember that making mistakes is not the end of the road. In fact, it's often just the beginning. The key is to learn from them, to reflect on what went wrong. and to use that knowledge to do better next time. Every successful person, every person who has achieved something meaningful, has made mistakes along the way. What sets them apart is not that they never made mistakes, but that they didn't let those mistakes define them. Instead, they used them as opportunities to grow, to adapt, and to keep moving forward. Next time you make a mistake, instead of criticizing yourself, take a step back and ask, what can I learn from this? Recognize that making mistakes is part of the process of becoming who you are meant to be. Embrace them as opportunities to grow, to evolve, and to improve. Remember, mistakes don't define you, they refine you. And in the end, it's not the mistakes we make that matter most, but the lessons we learn from them and the courage we have to keep going. Prioritizing your needs is often one of the most difficult things to do in a world that constantly demands more from us. We are conditioned to focus on others, whether it's our family, friends, coworkers, or community, and to put their needs above our own. We're taught that selflessness is a virtue, that we should always be there for others, sometimes to the detriment of our own well-being. While it's important to care for others and be there when needed, it's equally important to recognize that we can't give our best to others if we are neglecting our own needs. In order to be truly effective, loving, and compassionate in the world, we must first take care of ourselves. Prioritizing your needs doesn't mean being selfish or disregarding the needs of others. It means acknowledging that you too deserve attention, care, and time. It's about recognizing that your emotional, physical, and mental health are essential components of a balanced and fulfilling life. When you take care of yourself, you are better able to show up for others in a way that is genuine and sustainable. You can't pour from an empty cup, and if you constantly put others before yourself, you will eventually find yourself depleted, resentful, or burned out. Prioritizing your needs is about replenishing your cup so that you have something to give. It's important to understand that your needs are valid. Too often, we ignore our own desires or downplay the importance of taking time for ourselves. We might feel guilty for saying no or for taking time to rest or pursue personal interests. However, your needs, whether they're physical rest, emotional support, or time alone, are just as important as anyone else's. You are worthy of the same level of care and attention that you give to others. When you honor your own needs, you are showing yourself the respect and love that you deserve. One of the first steps in prioritizing your needs is recognizing what they are. We often get so caught up in our daily responsibilities that we lose sight of what we truly need. We may be running on autopilot, simply going through the motions of life and neglecting the deeper aspects of our well-being. To prioritize your needs, you need to check in with yourself regularly. What are you feeling emotionally? Are you exhausted? Are you hungry for connection? Are there any areas of your life where you feel unfulfilled or overextended? Taking the time to reflect on what you need can help you become more in tune with yourself and your desires, and allow you to make choices that align with your well-being. Prioritizing your needs also means setting boundaries. Boundaries are a way of protecting your time, energy, and emotional health. They are not about rejecting others, but rather about making sure that you are not giving so much of yourself that you lose sight of your own needs. Setting clear boundaries allows you to say no when necessary, to ask for what you need, and to carve out time for self-care without guilt. It's about creating space in your life for the things that nourish and recharge you, whether that's a quiet moment alone, pursuing a hobby, or spending time with loved ones. It's also important to recognize that prioritizing your needs is not a one-time action, it's an ongoing practice. Life is full of demands, and our needs change depending on where we are in life and what we are experiencing. Some days your need might be to rest and recharge. Other days you might need to ask for support or take time to focus on a personal goal. Being flexible and adaptable in how you prioritize your needs is key to maintaining balance in your life. When you prioritize your own needs, you send a powerful message to others that self-care is important. By taking care of yourself, you are showing those around you that it's okay to put yourself first, that self-care is not selfish, and that everyone deserves to have their needs met. When you lead by example, you create a culture of mutual respect, understanding, and care where everyone's well-being is valued. Prioritizing your needs is about creating a life that is aligned with your values and desires. It's about taking control of your well-being and giving yourself permission to thrive. When you make your needs a priority, you are investing in yourself, your happiness, and your future. It's not always easy, and it may require making tough choices or facing discomfort, but the rewards are immeasurable. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it is a necessity for a fulfilling, joyful life. You deserve it. Remember this: you are worthy of space, of respect, of love, and of happiness. You do not have to apologize for who you are, for what you need, or for the life you are building. Take these 9 things to heart and stop shrinking yourself to fit into a mold that isn't yours. You are enough just as you are. No apologies necessary. Thank you.